Let's look at this 2009 AMC question. Andy and Bethany have a rectangular array of numbers with 40 rows and 70 columns. Andy adds the numbers in each row. The average of his 40 sums is A. Bethany adds the numbers in each column. The average of her 75 numbers is B. What is the value of A over B? So let's first try to understand this question. So we start with a rectangular array of numbers with 40 rows. So, 40 rows. I'm not going to just draw them exactly, but there are 40 rows. And there are 75 columns. Like that. Now, for Andy, he's going to add all the numbers each row. So he add the first row, the sum will be something. Let's call it S1. And the second row will be S2, the second sum. And so on and so forth, S40. There are 40 rows, so there are 40 sums. And there are 75 columns, which Bethany is going to add. And the sums of each column will be, let's call it T1 and T75, which Ti is the sum of the ith row. And for Andy, he is going to calculate the average of these 40 sums. So the A you can think about is equals this, the sum of those 40 rows, the sum of those 40 rows sum, S1 to plus all the way to S40 divided by 40. Right? That's the average definition. The average of the 40 sums. Of course, we understand this is the sum is 40 row sums. And B equals T1 plus all the way to T75, the 75 column sums, the average. Right? This is just the definition of the average. So the question asks, what is A over B? How we do this? The thing we realize is this sum, S1 plus all the way to S40. What does this really mean? What does this really mean? First, we realize S1 equals the sum of all the numbers in that first row. This S1 is the sum of the numbers in the first row. S2 is the sum of the numbers in the second row. And S40 is the sum of the numbers in the 40th row. So if we're adding all those sums of SIs, adding them together, is going to be the sum of every number in this array. Aha, we have a very important thing. The sum of all the S1, S40 equals sum of every number in this array. And that is true for the T1 plus T2 plus all the way T75 as well, because exactly for the reason, same reason. T1 is the sum of all the numbers in the first column. T2 is the sum of all the numbers in the second column. T75 is the sum of all the numbers in the 75 column. So the T1 plus T2 plus all the way to T75 also equals the sum of every number in this array. So that means, because A equals S1 to S40 divided by 40, B equals T1 to T5 divided by 75, that means 40A, which equals S1 plus all the way to S40, is going to be the sum of everything. It's going to equal T1 plus T75 equals 75b. This is from the second equation, this is from the first equation, and these two the same because they both equal to sum of every number in this array. So 40a equals 75b, which means a over b equals 75 divided by 40 equals, simplify it, divide by 5 rows, it's going to be 15 over 8. And that's the answer to this problem. So just a bit of a review of this question. What we're doing here is realizing there's some kind of invariant. You realize the sum of the sums of each row is actually a constant, equals the sum of everything, equals the sum of the T1 plus T75, the sum of every column, and you sum them together. And that's the key to this question.